might have been the end of Discordia after
Right.
Delete Rewrite. But then we were very, very lucky to find Chevy, our new drummer, and we found a new breath. We found the fun again.
Martijn of Dyscordia, thank you so much for your time today. We get to talk to you in your studio, which is always awesome. Well, before we get into it, how are you doing? Because this is a stressful week for you, potentially.
Yeah, we have some great things coming up. We had the release of our album, and then very shortly we'll be playing our release show in the Kroon in Kortrijk. So it's a very
Exactly.
exciting week, actually.
Yeah. So, I mean, as we're talking, we're just a couple of days before the album comes out. So you said it's exciting, but is there like underneath the calm surface, is there like some nerves as well to see the reaction of all the fans on the whole album? I mean, I know a couple of songs have been released already, obviously, but how do you live through a release of an album like that? Like, is that all positive excitement? Is it a little scary? What's your day like right now?
Well, it's maybe a little bit scary, but to be honest, I'm really calm about it. You know, it's always it's always a big question if the fans are gonna like it. But we already heard some reactions, and also we're very positive about this album, and we really believe in the music that we have written and we have recorded. So I'm pretty sure they will like it.
Yeah. Awesome. Now, the band consists of a group of colorful characters. Is everybody in the band as calm as you are, or are you like calmness that balance out some other people?
We're very different personalities, and that's also why we are called Discordia. You know, so there's not a lot of harmony when we speak. There's actually 6 very strong personalities,
right?
And it's in these frictions that the music of Discordia really comes alive.
It's kind of funny that you describe the band as like, oh, there's very little harmonies amongst us, but when we look at the music, there's a ton of harmony there. And there's a lot of melody. Like, people that are new to the band, to help, to put a label on you, which is not easy. Let's say that it's melodic metal with some proggy and sometimes more extreme influences as well. It's an eclectic sound, if you will. So to jump into that, you've played with a lot of different bands over the years. You've shared the stage on festivals, a lot of different bands. Your sound fits in everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Like, it's you can be a little heavier for people that want just the melody. You can be very melodic for people that want the extreme. When you've played with so many different bands, like, do you see also like audiences like react slightly different? Like, if you go on the road with a heavier band, do you also cater your set to that? And vice versa? Or are you like, nope, we are Discordia, and people are gonna get the same experience and they're gonna love us or hate us?
Well, it's always going to be like that, that you like what you like, and that's really okay. I don't really mind if people don't like a song or maybe the whole of Discordia. But it's true that we have some heavier songs, some more hard-hitting, some softer, some more melodies. And to us, this is very nice to have this palette of different sounds to our disposal. Mm-hmm. And I think that mostly the audiences always have some songs that they can relate to.
Yeah.
But it's true that Discordia is more diverse, I think, than a lot of other bands that we play with.
Yeah, no, for sure. And this album is a perfect example of that. Like, this album, I find, that's coming out is a good representation of what Discordia is all about. It's a great, it will be a great first introduction for a lot of new people into your sound. Personally, I like some of the heavier songs the most. There's a couple ones, I won't spoil too much just before this album release, but at the end of the first half of the album, let's say, there's a couple of hard-hitting songs. Is it very different for the band, writing these different types of songs? Like, is there a certain style that for you comes a little bit more natural than the other?
Actually, I'm more the melody guy, but it's not like we know before we start what song we're gonna write.
Right.
It's just that the ideas come together, and this riff and we try, and it's always actually it's in this room that you're seeing right now that all the music is written for Dyscordia. Yeah. Then I'm here with Guy or with somebody else, and we work and we try things out, and then something doesn't work and something does work out, and sometimes there's happy accidents, and sometimes also we have to throw away like days and days of work. But this is all fun. But what I was trying to say is that the song kind of writes itself, and it's only afterwards that we see or we realize that, oh, this is a heavy song, or oh, this is more like a ballad that we've written. And it's always after the music is the instrumentals are written that the vocal layers are added.
Okay.
So Pete is always in charge of the vocal melodies, and Stefan is always in charge of the grunts.
You guys have grown quite a bit in popularity in Belgium. You guys were also like included in the latest Willy's Stalhart 100, which is like an annual top 100 list that Belgians can vote on for best metal songs. You guys were in that list. You've got a dedicated fan base in Belgium, but then where almost every Belgian band in history kind of plateaus, very few bands really make that plan and make an effort of growing outside of the borders of small Belgium. Like in Belgium, we have that saying, at least in my part of the country, but I think it's everybody that speaks Dutch might have the same saying. It's like, in Belgium, you turn around the church tower a few times every year. And that's kind of like, bands end up playing in the same local bars, same local clubs, but don't really go outside of that. I have a feeling for you guys, this is the start of a plan to go much more broad than that. You've already obviously played outside of Belgium.
We already tried. So Delete Right, the last album, there were actually plans to go on a big European tour. Yeah. And we everything was arranged, and we had everything ready, and then Corona happened. Yeah. COVID happened. So we actually were going to go on a tour of 2 or 3 weeks with Doro. Yeah. Throughout Europe, and then the tour got postponed 1 year, and then the year after it got cancelled. Yeah. So actually, the COVID has been really hard on us, because there's this delete rewrite really was a delete rewrite of Dyscordia. Right. So it was some prophetic words maybe in that album. So we had really big plans that didn't happen, and in the end we lost our drummer.
Having to bounce back from all of that with this new album, like how hard is that? Because you're talking about like, we come together and we write, and the music is there, we just have to it write itself. But like, how hard was that to get back into that mindset?
So writing music is always fun, but for Dyscordia, we've been deep. It's been really hard. When we lost our drummer, and then we had to find another, and there were struggles, and it was really difficult to find shows to play, and there's also the business side of a band that I haven't met any musician that likes the business side, but it has to be done. You have to do it. So there were troubles in that regard too, and actually it might have been the end of Dyscordia after the Delete Right. But then we were very, very lucky to find Chevy, our new drummer, and we found a new breath. We found the fun again.
Yeah.
We also lost our rehearsing room because the last drummer, which was my brother, Wouter, he had this really nice studio where his drum is staying, and apart from our drummer and the personality, he was a founding member of Dyscordia. We also lost the recording place and the rehearsal place, so it was a big blow actually.
Yeah.
Now I really feel that we have found this is the new chapter for Dyscordia.
Yeah.
And Chevy is a great drummer. So you can actually hear him on the new album. He has had a big influence on a lot of the parts, and it's quite a different sound, I think, from before.
Yeah. He's your Richie Faulkner, if you will, to bring blow some new wind in your sails.
I remove you from the flesh, bearing your existence. I promise resurrection.
The year is, only 4 months in. What can we keep our fingers crossed for? Like, what should we keep our eyes open for?
Well, we have some shows planned, but there's no tour yet. But we're still looking. So if we can find a way to make it happen, because this all costs a lot of money.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of fans that think that if you're in a band that is known, that you must make tons of money, but it's actually the opposite.
Right.
The more shows you want to play, the more it costs. We really invested in the recording and the mixing and mastering of this album. We made a lot of merch, so financially we're like at the bottom.
Yeah.
But it's to me it's really great because all hobbies cost money, and today I can say Dyscordia is self-sufficient.
Yeah.
So the merch that we sell, the shows that we play gets Dyscordia running, and we don't have to invest our own money anymore. But if you would like to go on a tour, you have to buy in. There's if you want to go with a big name, it could cost like 20,000 euros or so, just to be able to tour with them. And actually, maybe it's worth it because you get all this exposure, But it's always thinking and planning and making sure that we don't make a mistake.
Right.
It would be the end of Dyscordia if we because we're not on a label. We're still very independent. It's a conscious decision because we want to keep control over the creative process. And so all the decisions that were made in the production and the arrangements and the mixing and the mastering is by us.
Yeah.
To us, keeping this control is really, really important. If there would be a label that we could talk to and we would believe is a fair deal, we might be interested. But we haven't found one yet.
Right partner just yet.
You're dead.
Looking back, seeing how big in Belgium Dyscordia has become over the years, and you've played some of the biggest festivals, and whenever there's, whether it's a radio station or it's an online Facebook group or it's whatever, a streamer making a list of the best, Belgian bands or best Belgian songs, Dyscordia is always voted in there. With all the shit that you had to deal with in the last 2 years, did you find some time to balance that out with looking back on that and appreciating, how far this has gone already?
Of course, yeah. So I've never been in a band with this much success.
Yeah.
So I think what we have achieved with Dyscordia is something really beautiful, and we have to cherish. We have to cherish that.
Yeah.
But also, if there would ever come an end to Dyscordia the day after, I'm gonna start a new band because it's in my blood. I cannot live without metal.
Yeah, exactly.
So and maybe I'm a bit down to earth about that too, because I can make new music. I could find a new audience, but of course I'm not sure that I could ever reach the level that we are with Dyscordia right now.
Yeah,
because we're really lucky with our fans too. You know, the Dyscordia Army fan base, they're great.
Yeah. And for that Discordia Army out there, let's just make sure that they feel comfortable. You're not announcing the stop of the band.
Oh no.
I'm just kidding. Awesome. Now, given that you've mentioned a few times already, like, hey, this is the start of a new era for the band, and you know we're looking ahead. You have your hits as well from the other albums, but there has been a bit of an evolution, and then this album kind of is a nice, you know, like I said, like it's a great introduction to all the different sides of the band. If we're now thinking about these shows that are coming, and let's keep our fingers crossed that tours will be announced as well. Does that mean that you're also closing the door a little bit on the earlier stuff, and that we should expect you guys to predominantly, if not completely, focus on the new material as you're going on the road?
Well, obviously we're going to play a lot of songs from the new album, but we're not closing the door on the other albums at all. You know, Chevy has proven to be very, very capable of drumming all the songs past from the past.
Yeah.
So even on the release show, we're playing material from the whole. How should I say? Yeah. So all the albums will be heard on the release show.
All right. Well, that's exciting for both the old and the new fans to go, you know, check you out. So those people watching that are either in Belgium or close enough to Belgium should definitely come out to the release shows, and we will all keep our eyes open for announcements that will be made, I'm sure of it, in the next few weeks and months as more and more shows get announced, so that you can continue promoting this new album. Martijn, thank you so much for, you know, taking a little bit of time to giving us some insights on the new album, and then I just want to wish you, you know, the best possible album release cycle that you could have.
Thank you very, very much, Jasper.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it, and subscribe to the channel.